Darren, thank you for being willing to have the conversation.
I thank you to you.
And it's nice as a way for you to kind of be here and arrive here. And is it okay to videotape this for future teaching?
Yes, of course.
Well, thank you for that too. So, can you tell us, first of all, about some things that you've been doing recently that have been satisfying to you, pleasing to you, comforting to you?
No, together with Rüzgar, being with Rüzgar is the most happy thing to do, But there is also, we were talking about just 15 minutes ago, there is also a lot of loss in my life. I am maybe grieving about that because I really can't go back to do those things.
Okay.
Maybe several years, until she become maybe 5 years old or 6 years old.
So there are some things that you want to do?
Yes, but I can't.
But you can't do?
Yeah.
What sorts of things? Are they study or?
Yeah, for example, I can't concentrate and study very well. I can only study after she sleeps, go to sleep.
Yes.
Just 2 hours, but it doesn't enough for me.
Yeah.
And the other things, a lot of things, like reading books.
Yeah.
I like reading books, especially the parapsychology, science books.
Yeah, and Ruska's probably not that interested in you reading those to her. Well, they might be boring enough for her to put her to sleep instead of fairy stories, I don't know. But you could always read her some of Hoja's.
Yeah, Nasreddin Hoja. She knows.
She knows about Hoja? Yeah. Others may not be so aware of Hoja as being Nasruddin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also I like to be alone very, very much. Now I never can be alone, except before she goes to, bed.
Yeah.
I like to walk around in the city, walk around in the bush. I can't do those kind of things.
No.
I like to watch movie, the very good movies.
There are a lot of things that you can't do.
I can't do.
No.
I can list a lot of things that
could.
I can't
We
do.
could spend a long time.
Yeah.
And they're things that you can't do. And until Rüzgar,
Rüzgar, yeah.
Rüzgar. Before Rüzgar came along, you could do those things.
Yes.
And so there is a very real loss there.
Yes, very big loss.
So maybe you should adopt her out, get rid of her. Then you wouldn't have to put up with her and you'd have the time to do your... Don't hit me, don't.
No, I gave her up today.
Okay. Yeah, she's on loan though, she's coming back. Yeah.
No, she's playing at home with herself.
One of the American family therapists said that he wouldn't part with any of his children for $1 million, but he wouldn't pay 10 cents for another one.
Yeah, I don't think I am going to have another one.
Don't you?
I don't think so.
Okay. And you expect me to believe that?
Yes, you can believe that.
Oh, okay. Well, I can believe it or not. That's up to me. I can hear what you're saying. But
I also gave up my physical appearance.
You did?
I still can't lose those weights.
No.
There's another grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that what you've lost is something that you've gained. I mean, you've gained some weight.
Yeah.
And that's a loss for you.
Yes.
Yeah. It's one of those
Yeah.
topsy-turvy things. All right. Well now...
But I am dealing it, almost well because you love your daughter a lot,
Sure.
You love to spend time with her, you love to do anything for her, then you just,
Well, I think the answer for this situation is very simple. You just need to find out through your parapsychology how to live 2 lives at the same time.
Oh yeah, parallel lives.
Yeah, you can have parallel lives and then everything will be solved.
Yeah.
So, but apart from that, It's, you know, you can be sitting here and we can talk about things. And it can be enjoyable to speak together. And it can also be enjoyable to go into hypnosis. And so there is that dilemma, you know, if you close your eyes and go into hypnosis, that changes the possibility of what we might otherwise speak about in a more animated kind of way. But if we stay talking about things like we've been talking about them, then that prevents you from going into hypnosis. So there's always this dilemma, isn't it?
Yes.
If you do one thing, then it gets in the way of you doing another, actually prevents another. But if you were to do the other, that would prevent you from doing the other, which would also be a loss. So, as you somehow, in your own way, find yourself now going into hypnosis, even though you know that you didn't need to, didn't have to, but you found that that is what you are doing. I wonder if as this experience continues, you can find yourself feeling somehow more peaceful, knowing that at any moment you are doing exactly what you are doing. Even to the extent of perhaps taking a moment to notice what it's like to breathe in and then to breathe out. And knowing that when you breathe in, you can only breathe in when you're breathing in. And when you breathe out, you can only breathe out when you're breathing out. If you're breathing in, you can't breathe out while you're breathing in. When you're breathing out, you can't breathe out while you're breathing in. You can only breathe in when you're breathing in and breathe out when you're breathing out. And you mentioned that you like walking in the bush. Did you say the bush you like walking in? And it makes me wonder about when you first learned to walk, about how you might have found yourself ready to walk. That you might have somehow dragged yourself onto your feet. You may have been hanging on to the arm of a chair, piece of furniture, someone's hand. And how did you actually let go of what you were doing and take that step? Because when you take that step, you are no longer doing what you were doing. You no longer have what you had. The arm of the chair, furniture, holding someone's hand, whatever it was that you had. But you somehow took that step. And then you took another step. Then you took another step, and that uncertainty and that indecision, and then having started that, you might have fallen over. And you might have thought in some way, however a small child experiences this, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have hurt myself. You might have fallen over and bruised yourself. Maybe someone even put a band-aid on something that you hurt yourself. And if you hadn't done that, you wouldn't have had that bruise, you wouldn't have had that band-aid. But you did take that step. You did let go of what you had, the arm of the chair or whatever. That's right. And you did take the step that you took, and now you walk. And it's as if the walking happens all by itself. Where do you like to walk? Any particular part of the bush? Is there somewhere around where you live that you like walking? Along the creek? Mary Creek? Is that where you like to walk?
There's a park, Coburg Park.
Ah. Yeah. And there's a lake there.
Mm.
Yeah. Hmm. And you like walking around that park?
Yeah,
You
and
do.
also in the city as well.
Hmm?
Also in the city as well.
In the city?
Mm.
Mm. You like walking around in the streets in the city?
Mm.
Mm. Now, if you walk around the park, you'll have all of the experiences that happen when you walk around the park. You walk on a path, on a concrete path, or is it on grass? Path? Grass?
Or earth.
Or earth? Hmm. And if you walk in the city, you're walking on a footpath.
Mm.
And you can't walk in the city and in the park at the same time.
Mm.
When you walk through the city, there are shops, there are crowds, and there are all the things that, whatever they are, that you like about walking in the city.
Mm.
And when you walk in the park, there are no shops there.
Mm.
And there's grass, there's earth under your feet.
Birds.
Birds?
Mm.
Yeah. There's that experience. And when there's birds, you're not so close to the traffic like you are in the city. And in the city, you're not so close to the birds as you are when you're in the park. And you can't be in both places. But you can be in the place that you are. And you can enjoy walking in the city, knowing that it's the city. And appreciating and being glad that it is the city. And you can walk in the park knowing that it's the park. And appreciating that it's the park and being glad that it's the park. Feeling the earth under your feet and the birds. Different from the city.
Especially the smell.
Yeah. Hmm?
Smell of
Yeah.
trees,
What's the difference?
flowers,
Yeah. Very different.
pine trees especially.
Yes, yes, yes. Mm. And even though you know there are no pine trees, there are no flowers, there are no birds, there are no earth under your feet in the city, you can still go there and enjoy it knowing that that is where you are. And also, I want to remind you of something that I know is very well known to you. And that is that time is very elastic. It can be stretched. It can be compressed. And that you can be walking in the park and it can feel like you've only been there for a moment. You've been there for a long time. Or you can be walking on the other side of the lake and it can feel like you've been walking for a long time and it's only a very short time. Sometimes we can find that time can expand. And there may be some way that you can read a book. And you don't need to read it rapidly, you don't need to read it hurriedly, but you can enjoy reading the book for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, and you can enjoy reading that and it can feel like it's been happening for such a long time. I have an interesting, I think it's an interesting demonstration. Joseph Barber working with a young man who's at university. And he said he had an issue about deciding. Would he do this or would he do that? And often when he'd made a decision, he regretted the decision, or had some doubts about the decision, or had some upset about the decision. And he liked walking through the bush. And what Barber suggested to him was that he could imagine walking along a path. And he could be walking along this path, and there could be a fork in the path. And if he went one way, you'd have one experience. If he went another way, you'd have another experience. And even if both paths went through the same general area, the paths would be very different. And he also mentioned that sometimes it can be the same path, but there can be a fork in the path in time. You go down that path now, you go down that path later. And there was something about that idea for that person, that there was always a choice. And he could choose this path or that path. He could choose the path now or to choose the path later. There's always that choice. And as part of that choice, there is the ability to choose the choice that is chosen. A woman came to see Milton Erickson and said that she was sick of doing housework, tidying up after her messy family. She would vacuum the floor, put all the furniture straight, tidy up all the magazines, put everything in its place. Everything would be just how she wanted it. Then the family would come. And they'd leave bits of stuff here and bits of food there, and they would move the... some message. She was sick of that. And what Erickson asked her to do was to imagine. To just imagine that she could do the housework and would never, ever have to do it again. And she sat there peacefully and smiling, really enjoying the fact that she would never have to clean up again. And then something happened to that smile. Because she realized that if she never had to clean up, that the family that she loved so much wouldn't be there. And it was very amusing for her to say that actually that was something preferable for her. She chose the mess. She thought that she'd lost the tidiness. She thought that she'd given up something. But somehow she realized that although the tidiness wasn't there, she'd actually gained something. She was very pleased with the bargain. Now, in relation to your physical experience, you don't need to know how your body will do what it needs to do. And you are a woman, and your body is different as a woman than it was when you were a child. And your body changed during pregnancy exactly how it needed to. And your body will do exactly what it needs to do. And you don't have to have the body of a little girl, because you're not a little girl. And you don't have to have the body that you had before you got pregnant, because you now have a child. But you can have the body that you have, and you can allow your body to become the way it really is. And that may involve letting go of losing something, like a tummy. And it may be that as you find yourself gaining that sense of peace and acceptance, that something will happen to your tummy. Now, I mentioned before you arrived about a man who had a gambling problem. And he tried to get rid of the gambling problem unsuccessfully. And he eventually did succeed when I said that I thought his gambling problem was in his moustache. He shaved his moustache off and his gambling problem went. I think your dilemma of loss is something that you hold in your tummy. And as you lose your tummy, I think you'll gain that sense of acceptance and energy and looking forward, because you are a person who can look forward to things. That's an ability that you've shown again and again. And I'm wondering, what's happening at the moment, Farhan? What are you experiencing in yourself at this moment? There's some awareness buzzing away in the background there that you're trying to connect to? Or is there something disturbing that you just want to turn off in your awareness so that you... What's happening for you?
I like to not to think anything.
Ah, okay. That would be nice. Okay. You're not thinking anything? What are you doing when you're not thinking anything?
This looks like I am in the air or something.
In the air?
Yeah. Or in space or something. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Everywhere is the same.
Yeah. And whether you're up or down or left or right or yeah, in the city or in the park or with Rozga or not, or this body, that body, reading this book or reading that book or not reading anything. Everything is the same. That's a relief, isn't it? And time is the same too. Fast, slow, everything is the same. There's plenty of time. As you are in that experience, I wonder if you could somehow memorize it, somehow, as you're in it, begin to learn to notice how good that feels. To not have to think. And to just be exactly where you are.
Yeah.
Exactly how you are. And I remember someone telling me that I had all the time I needed in the past to do everything that I did do, and that I will have all the time that I will need in the future to do everything that I will do. There is always plenty of time to do what you are going to do. There's never enough time to do what you might want to do, because we might always want to do more, but there's always enough time for you to do everything that you will do. And somehow giving yourself the space, giving yourself that sense of being in the air, and what else would be helpful for you in this experience?
I just feel very relaxed.
Very
Relaxed.
relaxed. Oh, okay. Is that okay? Yeah? Relaxed enough for you to be where you are, how you are? Is that okay? Are you sure? Are you positive? Was that a yes?
Nah.
Nah. Sounds a bit like a no. You're not sure?
Nah.
Yeah. So if you're relaxed, could you be tense? At the same time as being relaxed? Don't think so. Perhaps you can just be as relaxed as you are. And accept that. Do you think that's possible? Yeah? Yeah? Because being relaxed and being tense is not that different, like being in space. Everything is the same. Yeah. Yeah. It's just the same. And when you're ready to bring that feeling of everything is the same, when you're ready to bring that feeling of acceptance, the feeling of I am going to do everything that I'm going to do, and there is time for me. Can't be in two places at once, but I can be where I am. When you're ready to be where you are. That's good. That's when you can get ready to bring your attention back to this room. Let your eyes open. That's good. Take your time. There's no need to rush it. You only open your eyes when you do. You can't open them until you do. Yeah. But when you open them, then they'll be open. That's right. They'll open, that's all right, don't rush them. I was trying to remember your niece's name, I can't remember.
Özge. Özge.
Özge. And how old was she? I couldn't remember, was she 8 or was she 11?
Oh, now she's 13.
13, so she must have been 11.
Yeah.
And she's still sleeping okay?
Yeah,
Yeah?
she's sleeping okay.
No trouble with sharks?
But she has got a lot of problems.
Oh, has she?
Because she's becoming
Sorry, I asked.
teenager. That's
Coming what?
why.
Oh, teenager. Oh, well.
That's fine.
But she doesn't have a problem with sharks.
No,
No.
she doesn't have.
And the parents don't have a problem with her trying to get out. No, no.
No.
That's right.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Thank you for being willing to have this conversation.
Thank you very much. Oh my God.
Are you back here yet? Partly. Partly. You're a bit here and a bit
It
there.
was look like I wasn't in this body.
No. What body were you in?
I didn't have anybody.
Ah, okay. Didn't have anybody? Now you've got somebody. Well, perhaps you are somebody. I don't know. How does your body feel now that you're back in it?
Yeah.
Does it feel okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might think that your body would be better if it was a bit less or a bit different or something, but I'll tell you what, you'd be in big trouble if you didn't have a body.
Yeah. Of course.
You should be grateful for the body that you got. There are some people that don't have a body, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't hug Rüzgar
Yeah.
if I didn't have a
That's
body.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's always easy for us to be critical of the body that we have,
Yes.
but it's nice to be more appreciative.
It's
that
very
we've got one.
primitive, but it's still
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, thank you
Is
very
that a place
much.
to stop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks very much for your help.
Thank you very much.